When Disney Plus launched, so many of us went straight to a childhood favorite, Darkwing Duck. While we loved the adventures of Darkwing as a kid, there was a whole lot that we missed, including banned episodes, unproduced episodes, and references to some of our favorite superhero franchises. Luckily, we've uncovered everything for you here today, including a crazy connection with Nickelodeon's Rugrats. And you know we can't go deep into Darkwing Duck without saying this at least one time, so
let's get dangerous.
As kids, we were spoiled with Darkwing Duck as Disney gave us a whopping 91 episodes to enjoy. But there could have been even more. A deep look into the production codes for the series reveals that there were 6 missing production codes. These could have been abandoned episodes, cut episodes, or stories that didn't make it past the storyboarding stage. But matching up the story codes with some of the plot lines through other episodes, there are some elements of the plot that we can figure out. For example, rumors have spread that the cancelled episode 4308-003 was supposed to feature the character of Animatronic, an evil scientist who appears in a Darkwing Duck's Golden Book along with several of the comics. Her robot dogs even appear in later episodes of the show. Maybe Disney Plus will give us some of these bonus episodes. As you relive the whole Darkwing Duck series, there's one episode you'll never get to see on Disney Plus: the controversial story Hot Spells. This episode aired only one time on Halloween of 1992 before getting pulled from the air, and was never released on VHS, DVD, or any digital format, including Disney Plus. But what was so controversial about it? Well, Darkwing Duck introduced a character named Beelzebub, who was pretty much a devil out to capture Darkwing's soul. Yeah, the episode got pretty dark and the religious content was too upsetting for many parents, keeping the whole story out of Darkwing Duck canon for good. Another episode, entitled A Duckyphobia, was initially pulled for being too close to the Spider-Man origin story, but Disney has since allowed the episode to get released. If Darkwing Duck reminds you of another childhood favorite, then it's probably the Rugrats. Once you learn about the cast connections, you cannot help but hear the Rugrats characters through the voices. One of the more obvious? The voice of Gosling is also the voice of Chucky Finster. The tones, screams, and anxious cries are all so much alike. Kath Soucie voices Morgana on the show, and also lends her voice to Phil, Lil, and Betty DeVille. In this case, Morgana and Betty sound very familiar. And then there's Lightwave, one of the villains from the episode The Frequency Fiends. The character is voiced by E.G. Daly, the unmistakable voice of Tommy Pickles. So technically the voices of Tommy and Chucky go face to face on Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck references have been spread across all types of Disney shows, including DuckTales. But there's one reference we all missed, unless we lived in Italy when it first aired. On the Italian version of the Disney cartoon Recess, TJ talks about his favorite shows, and Darkwing Duck is one of the ones that he lists. Oddly, his show dialogue does not appear in the original English version of the show. This is just one example of how Darkwing Duck is popular across the globe. When you're releasing over 90 episodes of a show in a single year, there's a whole lot of animation to get done. Some mistakes are bound to be made, and one of the more obvious ones occurs in the episode Cleanliness is next to Badliness. The beginning of the episode features the villain Steelbank. He wears a robe for most of his interactions with his foul bosses, but then there's a single random shot where he wears a white tuxedo. Right in the next shot, he's back in the robe again, creating a weird visual illusion that would definitely have the casual viewer do a double take. Thankfully, things like this were a lot easier to get away with back when DVRs weren't a thing. The source material Darkwing Duck took from was often pretty dark, including the Batman movies, classic detective noirs, and the whole episode Twin Beaks, which was inspired by the very adult show Twin Peaks. On the show, the character Laura Palmer is wrapped in plastic and dumped down a river. Well, for some reason, the Darkwing Duck animators thought it would be a good idea to pay tribute to that scene. A wrapped plastic body gets tossed down the river and is later discovered by Darkwing Duck. As if the body scene isn't bad enough, the episode continues on with some bizarre scenes and psychedelic moments, all in the same style as the real Twin Peaks. Imagine a world without Darkwing Duck. while that may have been the plan if Disney's production group originally got their way. The DuckTales episode 00 Duck originally served as an inspiration for a new series, focusing on a secret agent James Bond parody instead of the Batman-inspired superhero. The only thing that stopped the 00 Duck series from moving forward was the copyright problems with using the 00 name. The producers behind James Bond actually owned the rights to the 00 name, so this secret agent was sidelined. And thankfully so. While 00 Duck could have been interesting, it would have been nothing like the adventures of Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck takes place in a universe of talking, walking, and clothes-wearing animals. There's no humans in sight. Well, right up until the point where we meet Comet Guy. Comet Guy and all the humans on the show inhabit the planet Mertz, while Darkwing Duck actually lives on Earth. As a kid, we thought nothing of this. But now we have so many questions. Like, were all humans exiled from Earth, or did they live on Mertz all along? Were humans removed from Earth due to some type of Planet of the Ducks situation in the past? It's all so complex and something the show only touched the surface of. In the episode Going Nowhere Fast, Darkwing Duck has another classic showdown with Negaduck. In the end, Darkwing Duck uses his ultra speed to time travel and unleashes a tricky plan to outsmart Negaduck. When Darkwing Duck explains his grand plan in detail, there is a great Easter egg directly related to the Flash. He talks about training with the help of Dr. Allen and Dr. Garrick. Well, those are both the last names of the Flash personas Barry Allen and Jay Garrick. No wonder Darkwing was able to handle his speed powers so well. He was trained from the best in the business, two masters of the Speed Force. If you wanted more Darkwing Duck back in the day, well, we were this close to getting it. Disney loved the character, and so did viewers. All of these elements helped lead to the development of Justice Ducks, a spin-off show following a whole group of superheroes in similar fashion to the Justice League. There's no clear reason as to why the Justice Ducks didn't move forward, but it would have been great to see what heroes they brought on the show. With so much hype for nostalgia and 90s TV shows, it's still not too late to make Justice Ducks a thing. Just the posters and promotional material alone would be incredible. Just check out the Duck Knight Returns art for some proof. The writers on Darkwing Duck definitely loved to dive deep into the show's references and plot lines. One that went over our heads was the episode Adopticon, where a group of henchmen live in Drake Mallard's house and attempt a robbery. Well, the whole plot is based off the 1955 movie Lady Killers, where a group of criminals try to rob an old lady of her riches. Years after the DuckTales episode, Lady Killers was remade starring Tom Hanks. Some kids who grew up watching Darkwing Duck probably thought the Tom Hanks film took inspiration from the Disney tune, as opposed to the other way around. The world of Darkwing Duck is pretty much contained within its own universe, but there are some great shoutouts to other Disney shows. At the same time Darkwing Duck was on the airwaves, Disney also had a hit with Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. The show was such a hit that even residents of St. Canard watched the show. In the episode Negaduck, we see this firsthand at Drake Mallard's house. When Gosling goes to block the view of the television, look closely in the background and you can easily spot Chip 'n Dale hanging out in a tree. The Little Chipmunks have had cameos in all types of Disney shows, and their voices can also be heard in the episode Twitching Channels. When Darkwing Duck isn't getting rid of crime in the streets, he's relaxing at home as his alter ego Drake Mallard. While he definitely prefers to dress and act like Darkwing, his role as Drake is important to his family. And while Drake assumes the life of a regular guy, there's one thing we never found out: his occupation. A job is hinted at on the show, but never confirmed or actually really shown. Turns out that Drake Mallard is actually a bigger mystery than Darkwing. The occupation was purposely left out to use as a fun running gag and mystery that never gets solved. Not only is it impossible to see an official release of the Darkwing Duck episode Hot Spells, but you also miss out on a clever reference to a Disney classic in the episode. As the devilish character Beelzebub tries to trick Gosling into following his plan, he dresses up as a janitor. During one moment, we see Beelzebub interact with a set of magical brooms. He actually berates the thing for the inability to clean windows. The magical brooms weren't an original creation for the show. The brooms come from the Disney classic Fantasia and the Sorcerer Mickey section of that movie. Tossing in the sorcerer's hat would have been a nice touch. One of Disney's lesser-known cartoons from the 80s is Adventures of the Gummi Bears. The adventure show featured a group of bears who went on various journeys and was set in medieval times. The show was very different in tone and style from Darkwing Duck, but that didn't mean those gummy bears couldn't make a cameo appearance. In the episode Life, the Negaverse, and Everything, watch about midway through the episode. You can spot a stuffed animal version of one of the gummy bears. Not only are both of the shows a big part of Disney, but a lot of the production crew and animators went straight from Adventures of the Gummy Bears directly to Darkwing Duck, making the Easter egg add even more value and history. In today's movie world, we're already pretty used to a multiverse thanks to shows like Arrow and The Flash, or movies like Spider-Man Far From Home. Well, long before the multiverse became mainstream, Darkwing Duck was already dabbling in the idea. The whole show was meant to take place in a multiverse, meaning that timelines and origin stories didn't exactly have to match up or really even flow. This is the reason Darkwing Duck has multiple origin stories which contradict each other and present some timeline issues. Without directly stating it, the show created a whole multiverse and different worlds where Darkwing Duck saves the day. And now with the DuckTales remake, we have a whole different version of Darkwing Duck who made his debut in the show's 40th episode. To help promote a new show, networks will typically release previews, extended trailers, and a ton of ads to get kids excited. Well, Disney decided to take a different approach with Darkwing Duck by releasing a hip-hop music video instead. With a whack and a smack, we get treated to quick clips of the cartoon intercut with young children showcasing their best hip-hop moves. The video aired endlessly before the show aired, but quickly disappeared, leaving many of us without the glory of a duck-based rap song. Of course, thanks to VHS capture and YouTube, the Darkwing Duck rap can now become a part of our daily soundtrack. Trust us, just a few listens and the whole thing will be stuck in your head all day long. Just try getting it out. While at first glance, many people may assume Negaduck acts as Darkwing's version of the Joker. This is not the main source of inspiration though. Negaduck has a long vendetta against Darkwing Duck and often shows up as one of the main villains of the show. To figure out his inspiration, you only really need to check out the color scheme of his villainous outfit. It's all based off of Reverse Flash. The ultimate Flash villain was known for his black and yellow scheme and has long been a major enemy to Barry Allen over the years. Negaduck represents Reverse Flash well, showcasing the endless vendetta against Darkwing Duck and supplying some of the best episodes of the show with some of his dastardly plans. Ever since Darkwing Duck debuted, fans have been desperate to see an official movie. The closest thing we've ever gotten? A video spoof online, starring voice actor Jim Cummings. Jim supplies the voice of Darkwing Duck on the show, along with a number of other characters, including Negaduck. Following the Kickstarter success of films like Veronica Mars, the Darkwing Duck parody spoof features Cummings trying to get funds to make a Darkwing Duck movie on his own. Despite being fake, the best part of the whole thing is the ability to hear Cummings do the Darkwing Duck voice again. The whole voice is still spot on and makes us long for more Darkwing content. If a real Kickstarter was made for a Darkwing Duck movie, we have no doubt that it would reach its goal in a single day at least. I mean, I'd give money to it. Even though Darkwing Duck and DuckTales took place in different universes, the shows still gave nods to each other in many episodes. How could you not, considering Launchpad was featured on both of them? Well, McScrooge also makes a cameo appearance in the form of an image. During an episode that features the city of Duckburg, a quick shot of a large billboard showcases McScrooge's likeness on the sign. Little moments like this really showcase the depth the animators would add to the show. For even more crossover goodness, consider checking out the crossover comic entitled Dangerous Currency. The 2011 crossover comic was great, but truly a missed opportunity for both shows to combine back in the early 90s. Back in the 80s and 90s, most Disney animated shows were ordered for a strict 66 episodes. Once the episodes were complete, so was the show. Well, the popularity of Darkwing Duck allowed the series to truly break the mold. After the initial 66, Disney was ready for more and extended the show for an additional 13. Well, that wasn't enough. A second order for another 13 was made, giving the show a total of 91 episodes, which was pretty unheard of for a Disney show. The order differences also made for some weird season lengths. The whole first season of the show is 66 episodes, while the second and third seasons were only 13 each. When the show was released digitally, they broke things down into 6 seasons to make things easy to follow and keep track of. One of the biggest connections Darkwing Duck has is with Russia. The former Soviet Union was very against the idea of importing American animated shows, but something about Darkwing Duck appealed to them. The show became one of the very first US-based shows to get an official release in the area, which was extremely rare at the time. You know, Cold War and all that. The fandom for Darkwing Duck was so strong in the USSR that there were even 2 unofficial video games released for the show. The games were made for the Sega Mega Drive and the Master System. If you wanted to play back in the day, you could actually get the game shipped directly from Russia. Nothing like a duck-billed superhero to bring foreign nations together. And there we have it. Now let's go binge some Darkwing Duck together. But first, what facts surprised you the most? Any great ones that we missed? Do you want to see a full-on Darkwing Duck reboot? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to ScreenRant for more great content.